Thank you for joining us on the live report, ladies and gentlemen. In the last 1 year, how many crashes have we brought to you here on Republic? Last month, you had a crash in Baramati when Ajit Pawar was killed. And all these companies that are operating, these aviation companies, air ambulances, airways, they're all in some way flouting the rules, most of them. And today, when a plane has crashed in Jharkhand, an air ambulance has crashed in Jharkhand, the company that was operating that air ambulance, it appears, from Republic investigation, was also flagged even by the court. So if all these companies were flagged and are yet flying and people are dying, then who exactly is responsible? Our focus here on the live report is on the investigation into the aviation emergency. Here are the headlines at 12 p.m. Republic investigates the aviation emergency. 7 people killed in the Jharkhand air ambulance crash. The company that operated the air ambulance is now under the scanner. And the same agency that probes them, the same agency that lets them go, the same agency that files a preliminary report and never files a final report, AAIB, probes another company. Will they again let go of another company? It's the SpiceJet Mayday call over New Delhi. Seconds after taking off, engine failure reported in a Delhi to Leh flight. Makes a U-turn, lands in full emergency at the Delhi airport. Mastermind who boasted on Republic camera that he was behind it and that the Congress leadership was backing the Banyan protest, picked up, arrested by the Delhi police. His name is Banu Pratap. Told Republic he was very proud. He's proud behind jail this morning. Starting this edition of the news with another breaking update, unfortunately, of another aviation emergency that has taken place this afternoon. We're getting in these pictures from Port Blair in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. There's been an emergency landing. A Pawan Hans chopper has made an emergency landing this morning. We're getting in the first pictures, ladies and gentlemen. And we have the details coming in. Around 9:30 a.m. this morning, a Pawan Hans helicopter experienced a short landing incident near Maya Bandar. Pictures coming in exclusively on Republic. Look at that. Pictures from Port Blair, only on Republic. Pictures from across India, not just on an aviation emergency, but on every big aviation story, Republic breaking that first. And this picture, that's not a boat, that's a chopper. A chopper that made an emergency landing in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. This is Maya Bandar in Andaman and Nicobar. The chopper had taken off from Port Blair with 2 crew members, 5 passengers on board. All have now been rescued. They are safe. No injuries have been reported, according to the Pawan Hans spokesperson. Pawan Hans intra-island ferry. It was an intra-island ferry operating from Maya Bandar. Faced a technical snag. Soon after takeoff, the pilot decided to land in water in order to minimize damage. So this was an emergency, and the chopper landed on water. Those are the first pictures coming in. The location is Port Blair. Port Blair. This is Port Blair. This is Maya Bandar. Near Maya Bandar, Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Let me go across to Hina joining us live. Hina, any more details of the technical glitch that we've been able to pick up in the last few minutes?
So Niranjan, at around 9:30 is when this incident took place. So we are talking about Pawan Hans, which is a transport, an intra-island ferry service which was operating. It took off at around 9:30 from Port Blair, but after takeoff, soon after takeoff, the pilot realized that there was some technical snag which was there on the flight, and that is the reason he took the decision to make an emergency landing in Maya Bandar, near Maya Bandar, in fact, in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So he decided to make an emergency landing. And after that, all of these passengers, 5 passengers we're talking about, and 2 crew members, they were rescued by the local rescue services there. Now, we have received an update in this where Pavan Hans Island Ferry Services has responded to the controversy and said that this was a small incident, a small landing incident is what they've said. But back-to-back scandal in the aviation sector we are seeing. Now, of course, a further probe will be made. As of now, we do not know what exactly was that technical snag that we are talking about. But all of the passengers, 5 passengers and 2 crew members, fortunately are alive and safe. That is what we have latest in this. Niranjan.
Thank you for joining us with those inputs. Those are pictures, ladies and gentlemen. You'll see them only on Republic of the Pavan Hans. Can we just play those pictures again? So at Port Blair, these Pavan Hans choppers, the new pictures that came in of the ferry, the new pictures that came in of the jetty, where the rescued passengers were brought, those were live pictures, latest pictures in fact. Those are the pilots of the chopper that made that emergency landing. That's the aircraft. It appears to be an aircraft, and that aircraft made an emergency landing. Okay, so that's a small plane, looks like a small plane and not a chopper. So we'll just get the full facts of it. It's an aircraft. So those are the latest pictures coming in. We'll move on now. These are pictures that came in from Port Blair, close to Maya Bandar in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And the reason that has been cited by Pavan Hans for landing there is to minimize damage. They're saying they landed on water to minimize damage. Okay, let's move on and get you the other big breaking news update. A little after 7 p.m. last evening, an air ambulance from Ranchi took off, was headed towards Delhi. But within 30 minutes, that plane, it was a charter plane operated by a company called Redbird Airways. And that plane crashed in Jharkhand, near Latehar, Palamu. And we're getting in the details of what really happened. We heard that the pilot made a call to the Kolkata ATC asking for a diversion. What happened in the last few seconds is unclear, but 7 people on board have lost their lives. 7 lives lost. And another company is now under the scanner. So each time a crash happens, companies come under investigation and everybody forgets about it. And the company under scanner in this particular case was a company called Redbird Airways. Redbird Airways was flagged, ladies and gentlemen, another company that was flagged. Redbird was flagged. Conflict of interest was raised even by the court. The court, in one of its hearings on this company called Redbird Airways, the logo you can see on the plane, had spoken about common directors and shareholding and how they had still applied for a tender, and spoke about how tender rules barred airline association when the process took place in that particular case. Redbird, the company itself, was flagged. They were called out for fraudulent and corrupt practices. And even the court had observed, the Delhi High Court had observed that the consortium had given a false declaration and they were asked for a clarification. Now, all of these details are available, ladies and gentlemen. In the course of our investigation, we have found out that the court had flagged misrepresentation and misconduct. Harsha, my colleague, is tracking the story. But if a company called Redbird Airways was flagged, if a company called Redbird Airways was pointed out for bribery, they were flagged for bribery, they were flagged for corruption, they were flagged for fraudulent practices by the court, and they still continue to operate. This plane crashed yesterday, just outside Ranchi. Let me go across to Harsha, joining us with the details. Harsha, what more do we know about this company? It appears to be the case in many cases. You speak about the Jharkhand crash, the Redbird Airways crash, or the VSR Aviation, which was operating the Ajit Pawar plane. All of these companies have in some way gotten into very serious trouble and gotten away.
You rightly pointed out, Niranjan, be it the VSR, the one who, brought Lear Jet 45 from the US manufacturers to the country for domestic purposes, or be it this particular Redbird Airways Private Limited. All these companies are in question, Niranjan, and the larger question is how they are getting approvals, how they are getting license to operate. This company, Redbird Airways Private Limited, Niranjan, came into inception in 2018. This person, Akshay Kumar, who is the promoter and founder of the Redbird Airways Private Limited, he launched the company in 2018. He is the aircraft engineer by profession. In 2022, he manages somehow to get the license from the authorities for the medical starter services. You imagine a person, aircraft engineer, takes the license from the authority, from the officials in 2022 for the medical services and the domestic needs of the passengers if they need to go from domestic routes one way to the another. But the larger question is they are getting the licenses from the regulatory body. The regulatory body is not even checking the crew, the pilot, the charter which they are leasing from anywhere or which they are enrolling in their particular private limited company, whether they are the proper charters. Is there any...
Harsha, be with me. There's another breaking news update that I'm getting in right now. There's a picture, there's a video that's come in right now. Harsha, there's a video that's coming. Let's go to those pictures coming in. Breaking news now of the engine that was found nearly 200 meters away. This is the aircraft engine that was found 200 meters away. I'm not sure, maybe an expert will be able to throw light on this, but the fact that it has been found almost 200 meters away from the crash site. We'll try and get an expert on this, but these are the pictures coming in from the crash site. It's a remote site, and even some of the rescuers took almost 1.5 to 2 hours to reach this site when we called them last night. And it's bizarre that this engine was found 200 meters away from the crash site. Harsha, do you have any details? Maybe we'll try and get an expert, aviation expert on the phone line on whether this is normal. What do we make of this? Harsha.
Niranjan, this is the exclusive Republic info which, I have put out just after speaking to the AIB officials who were dispatched yesterday from Delhi, are now at the accident spot. They have taken the debris material and they have taken the engine and the poplar and the few evidence from the spot to investigate. When I spoke to the AIB officials, what they told me was that the engine was found 200 meters away. They stated that usually during crash, the engine and the other parts are together near the fuselage area, and usually we have not seen the engine, at such a far distance, like 200 meters. So in the prelim information, the prelim information they have shared with me is that they suspect that before even landing, there was not a crash landing. The engine might have separated from the aircraft mid-air only, and that's also one of the reasons why the crash didn't happen in the densely populated area. And it was a high chances are that the pilot in command was, once it disappeared from the radar, the plane, the pilot in command couldn't control the balance of the aircraft. There was a complete engine failure. The engine got separated from the aircraft. It went to the not densely populated area. The plane didn't crash in the densely populated area. Rather, it crashed in the dense forest area where there was no population, where there was the forest area, the forest areas visible there. In that particular location, the aircraft was crashed. This is what the information has been shared initially orally in the prelim information which the AIB officials from the spot who are investigating exactly what went wrong in the last minutes of the crash. They are investigating. Right now they have taken few samples from the location. The forensics have also been called. The debris is being removed from the spot and the remaining materials are being collected for the investigation.
Now, what I'm seeing here is that something like this would indicate a serious mechanical or structural breakdown during the flight itself. Serious mechanical failure or structural breakdown. Now, that will again point to maintenance of the plane. And again, the DGCA will come into question, Harsha. DGCA will come into question. DGCA will say AAIB is probing. AAIB will say we will continue our investigation. And both of them report to Civil Aviation Ministry.
So there's a whole circle, Niranjan. There's a whole circle. Whenever such thing happen, all questions lead to one office, that's the aviation watchdog DGCA. DGCA comes into action, AIB comes into action, the whole, all the routes lead to Civil Aviation Ministry. Civil Aviation Ministry comes with a templated response, AIB comes with a templated response. Niranjan, if you remember, after Learjet 45 crash, the questions were rising. What happened to Learjet 2023 crash? The report didn't come out. Now when this crash happened of Learjet 45, in which Deputy Chief Minister lost his life, Rohit Pawar kept on saying it's a conspiracy. Then the 2-year-old reports came out. The AIB came out with the 2-year-old report, that also not the final report. And in this case, people are suspecting that it will happen the similar way. Right now, AI 171 crash report, it's not out, Niranjan. June was the incident. We are right now in 2026. The reports are not out. Final report is not out. Learjet 45, final report is not out. And in this case, although the investigation has begun since last night, no information officially has been shared, but everyone is suspecting that there will be templated response only from the DGCA and from the AIB and from the Aviation Ministry. Niranjan, it's bizarre that we are, since last night we are reporting, Aviation Minister have not come out with an official statement. Aviation Minister have not even said anything on this particular crash. He has not even asked authority, watchdog, AIB to, ensure that nothing should go out of order. The airway should be properly investigated. No statement, Niranjan. That's the sad reality of the aviation sector. We are reporting every day. We are asking the watchdog, aviation, DGCA to pull up the airlines. But exactly in reality, the crashes are happening, crash landings are happening, engine failures are happening. Today morning it was SpiceJet. But nothing so far has been done by the aviation watchdog. And if the situation remains same, Niranjan, more lives will be lost, more crashes which will happen. But the watchdog will be sitting with the templated response.
Yeah, stay with me. Stay with me. We were at the at this Redbird office. And we confronted or tried to question the AAIB officials and Redbird, the company that was operating this flight. Can you imagine when a flight is mid-air, the engine falls 200 meters away from the crash site? This is what happened. Take a look at this.
What they have probed till now, and the owner of this airways is currently in Jharkhand, and we will give you the live updates. You can see the office is currently opening, the shutter is opening, so we will show you who comes outside and we'll try to have a word with him. Sir, क्या investigation का part है?
पता नहीं मेरे को।
Sir, किस ऑफिस?
अरे मेरे को नहीं पता, चाय पीनी है तो बताओ, मैं चाय पिलाने वाला हूँ ऑफिस में, मेरे को नहीं मालूम।
See, the office shutter is half open. We'll try to get in and talk to the officials of this AAIB. They're not letting us open this shutter. Sir, क्या क्या इन्वेस्टिगेशन का पार्ट है सर?
सर प्लीज अभी चल रही है इन्वेस्टिगेशन AIB अंदर, प्लीज सर गिव अस
क्या क्या
टाइम सर। इट्स द breach of security sir, please. I can't say anything right now. I can't say anything sir, I can't say anything right now. Investigation is in progress.
Possible angles which you are probing? So why are you running away from our office?
They are calling me sir, they are asking for the documents, please.
So
Please.
can you please tell us what are the...
I will tell you everything, give me 5 minutes. I will tell you everything, give me 5 minutes only, please.
Sir, any update?
I will update you, give me 5 to 10 minutes. I am here only. Okay.
Sir, आपको क्या पता इन्वेस्टिगेशन के बारे में?
हमें कुछ नहीं पता भैया, मुझे कुछ नहीं पता।
सर, क्या officials किस चीज को
भैया कुछ नहीं
investigate
पता हमें इस चीज़ के बारे में, मुझे नहीं पता सर।
कुछ एंगल आपको पता है कि कैसे हुआ इंसिडेंट?
नहीं मुझे कुछ नहीं पता भैया।
क्या एयरक्राफ्ट फिट था फ्लाई करने के लिए?
पता नहीं भैया इस बारे में, कोई मैं ऑथराइज पर्सन वही देंगे जो भी होंगे, हमें नहीं पता।
सर बट आप यहाँ के ऑफिशियल है, आपको पता
नहीं
होगा
मैं
कि
ऑफिशियल नहीं हूँ,
कैसे
मैं ऑफिशियल
aircraft
नहीं
फिट था,
हूँ, आई एम नॉट ऑफिशियल।
सर आप ऑफिस में आप काम कर रहे हैं, आपको तो पता ही होगा।
मैं भैया वो काम नहीं करता ना, मेरा कुछ और काम है, होटल में काम करता हूँ मैं नीचे।
Actually currently the AIB officials are coming outside the office. Ma'am, what are the... See, you can currently see the AIB officials. Some officials have come out of the office. So, what are the angles you are probing, sir? Ma'am, what are the angles that you are probing in this accident?
We are in process.
Sir, can you please tell us something about the incident?
I will come back. I will come back, surely.
Sir, abhi aap engine outside ho gaya. Can you please tell us?
I will come back. I am giving you guarantee I will come back.
Okay, so obviously the Redbird Airways that was operating the flight, they've gone completely silent. They've been flagged for corruption, fraud, bribery in the past. Now, there's been another aviation emergency over the Delhi NCR skies. A SpiceJet flight that took off was headed to Leh, Delhi to Leh. Seconds after takeoff, did a mayday call. There was a mayday call. The SpiceJet pilot spoke about engine failure in that mayday call. This was seconds after takeoff, and distress call was made. And the plane roughly was in the air for a minute or more. And then the pilot reported engine failure to the ATC, after which the landing happened. Within a few minutes, full emergency was declared. Full emergency was declared, and the plane landed. As far as SpiceJet goes, SpiceJet claims that there was no reported fire in the engine or cockpit fire. Were there reports of any fire that was reported? What really happened on this flight? Harsha, what is the truth about what happened on this flight? It appears to be a cover-up attempt. They've gone completely silent on what really happened on board.
So, Niranjan, exactly, there was no fire in the cockpit, but there was a red signal of the engine failure, which, the engine started beeping. The engine failure signal started beeping seconds after the pilot took off from the Delhi airport for Leh. It was seconds after the takeoff at around 6:45 a.m. in the morning. The pilot in command didn't take any risk. He immediately informed ATC that there's a command of engine failure continuously beeping in the cockpit, and that's the reason I will have to make a turnaround. The ATC immediately told the pilot to make a turnaround and land at Delhi Airport runway 28, which was made cleared for the SpiceJet SG-121 to land runway 28. All the emergency services were made to stand there, on hold till the time the plane lands there. The entire emergency was declared at Delhi Airport after pilot told that there were two engines. Both are signaling that there's an engine breakdown, there's an engine failure. Any untoward incident could happen. This was pilot's information to ATC. There was a mayday call. Immediately 20 seconds after takeoff, Niranjan, there was a mayday call, and immediately the decision was taken to make a turn around and land back to Delhi Airport. Now the passengers will be given alternate flight tomorrow, but SpiceJet in their templated response nowhere have mentioned anything about engine failure or the red beeping signals in the cockpit of the engine failures. They only have stated there was no fire in
be with me,
cockpit.
Harsha. I have
So
Parvez
that's
Damania joining us on the phone line. Parvez Damania is joining us on the phone line. Mr. Damania, we have another crash, and we have another company that was flagged many years before. Another company called Redbird Airways was flagged, was being probed for fraud, bribery allegations. Even by the court had mentioned it, and they continue to operate. Engine found 200 meters from the crash site. I'd like to get your response to this. It's becoming one too many.
I think it's terrible. The crash is terrible. People have lost their lives, and the government should probe in detail these non-scheduled and
Go ahead.
to the mark. And if any default should be found, they should be immediately grounded. Because in recent times, there's a second NSOP crash that has occurred in such a short time. Hello?
There's also been this SpiceJet emergency. So there are so many cases being reported, Mr. Damania. So do you think there's a need for some sort of a cleanup or shake-up, perhaps?
No, I see the SpiceJet emergency, the decision must have been taken by the pilot. I do not know what must have happened. But if there was an engine emergency or some issue must have occurred, the pilot must have done a turnaround or brought the aircraft back. But the crash in which people have died is absolutely terrible. We need to look into what were the maintenance standards of Redbird, what they were doing, and what kind of quality standards they were maintaining, what is the operation, spare parts. I think recently the VSR crash also occurred. I think a detail looking into all these operators who are operating the small aircrafts need to be surveyed and studied, and a monitoring probe should be ordered immediately on all the NSOP operators.
Yeah. Sir, I'll take you on this short question now. DGCA, AAIB reports to DGCA, and DGCA monitors all airlines, airways, and AAIB investigates the crash, and both of them report to Civil Aviation Ministry.
Correct.
None of these crashes that take place or incidents that take place, we've spoken about this, there is a preliminary report, there's never a final report, there's never a closure, and the firms which are regular offenders always get away, they come back into the system.
No. See, first of all, I think this AAIB, the Accident Investigation Department, should be completely independent, and they should not be reporting to the DGCA, and their findings should be made public. Like abroad, whenever an investigation takes place, whatsoever, it's an open door investigation. So like that, the investigation report should be available to anybody and everybody, so people know what is happening. A closed door investigation should not be done, actually. And even I was told that the Ajit Pawar crash report was going to come out very soon. So let us see what comes out in that report also, what issues. But like I was saying, basically, the way the DGCA monitors the airlines, the commercial airlines, the NSOP should be monitored at the same standards.
Let's see where the story goes, Mr. Dabania, because we've been debating it, we've been talking about it, and the crashes still continue to happen. Let's see what happens next. Aviation emergency continues to be our top focus here on Republic TV. The SpiceJet Mayday call happened this morning, eerily similar to what happened with the AI-171. When the plane took off, seconds after takeoff, there was an emergency, perhaps an engine failure. We don't know what really happened. But aviation emergency, breaking news continue on this theme after this break. Stay tuned.